So tonight, as per usual, we are going to do 2 yoga poses, and then we are going to actually do a Asian folktale tonight, so I hope you guys will enjoy that. And then we'll come back and do 1 more yoga pose and one more round of deep breathing before we say goodnight. Our first yoga pose is turtle pose. Sit down with your legs in front of you, slightly bent. Lean forward and slide your hands under your knees to hold the inside of your ankles. Try to touch your forehead to your feet while breathing deep. So I have to have mine slightly bent so that I can get down, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and our second yoga pose is butterfly pose. While sitting down, put the flats of your feet together, then put your hands on your feet. Your legs and your arms make the butterfly wings. Gently move them while breathing deep. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now let's sit up nice and tall. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Ready? Are you nice and relaxed after the yoga and deep breathing? I'm glad. This weekend is the start of the Lunar/Chinese New Year. So in Asian cultures, the calendar can be celebrated a little bit differently. In our Western culture, the calendar is based off of a solar year, the time it takes the Earth to orbit the Sun. While in some cultures, like traditional Asian cultures, they base it off of a lunar year, or 12 full cycles of the moon, which is roughly 354 days. So the Lunar New Year is the first new moon of the year, which is this Friday. So I thought it might be nice to do an Asian folktale. This story is called Sister Lace, and I found this story in a book called The Serpent Slayer and Other Stories of Strong Women. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a woman who was very talented at making lace, so everyone called her Sister Lace. She created lacework plants and birds and animals that were so beautiful that they seemed to almost be living. Her work was the greatest treasure of her village, and anyone who owned one of her creations was considered to be very lucky. Word of Sister Lace's travel and skill spread throughout the land, and girls from all over the country came to study with her. Sometimes they would go frustrated and despair of ever being able to make lace as fine as hers. But Sister Lace was a kind and patient teacher, and she told them, "Do not worry, everything I know, someday you'll know too. You'll learn to make lace with your heart, not just with your fingers. That is the secret." One day, a traveling merchant came to the emperor's palace and offered him some of Sister Lace's handiworks. The emperor was enthralled by the beauty of the work and enraged that it was being made for people other than himself. He sent a legion of soldiers out to bring Sister Lace to the palace at once. However, when they arrived at her village, she refused to go. "I have no interest in the emperor and his finery. My place is with the villagers and sharing my skill with the girls who want to learn. I cannot leave them."
"Who are you to disobey the emperor?"
declared one of the soldiers, and moved to grab Sister Lace. Her students gathered around to try and protect her, but were easily moved aside. As she was carried away, Sister Lace called to her students, "Be strong and be patient. Remember everything I have taught you. Make lace with your heart, and someday you'll make lace finer than mine." At the emperor's palace, Sister Lace refused to walk and was dragged before the emperor, who, when he saw her beauty, suddenly commanded,
"Stop this nonsense, foolish woman! You are to marry me, and from now on, only make lace for me. You will never return to your village."
Sister Lace thought of the good people in her village and her wonderful, cozy cottage, where she had spent so many happy years learning her trade and exploring her skills and sharing her knowledge. She grew angry, and when the emperor tried to draw her close to him, she scratched at his eyes and kicked at him. "I hate you, and I'll never marry you." The emperor's face grew red with embarrassment and anger, and he pushed her away and ordered his guards to take her to the dungeon. No woman had ever treated him like that. The next day, the emperor went to Sister Lace's cell. She sat on the bare floor, looking sadly at her empty hands. She didn't even notice him. The powerful ruler rattled the bars of her cell to get her attention.
"Foolish woman! If you agree to marry me, you'll have all the comforts you can wish for. You'll need only to open your mouth to be fed and hold out your hands to be dressed."
Sister Lace met his angry gaze with a calm and measured look. "I know how to feed and dress myself. Why should I marry you? I don't love you. I care for no one but the people of my village and my students. I love nothing but making lace. I want nothing from you."
"Ho, ho, 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 ho! Very well. If you love making lace so much, make me a live rooster on a length of lace. Then you can return to your village. If not, you'll stay here forever. You have 7 days.
The emperor snapped his fingers and turned and walked away. The prison guards rushed forward and brought Sister Lace fabric and thread. For 7 days and 7 nights she worked to make a rooster. On the dawn of the 7th day, it was done. She pricked her finger and rubbed the blood on the rooster's feathers. And when she thought of her village, a single tear rolled down her face and fell into the rooster's mouth like a pearl. With a flap of his wings, the rooster stood up and crowed. This drew the emperor to her cell. He was shocked to see a live rooster struggling to free itself from a length of fabric.
What kind of trick is this? This is a bird from the palace. Make me a wild partridge. I'll give you another 7 days to finish it. And if you can't, you will be my bride.
As he turned to leave, the rooster suddenly broke free and flew at the emperor and began to peck around his head.
Free, Sister Lace! Free, Sister Lace! Or it will be the death of you!
The rooster crowed. The emperor just ran. Sister Lace worked day and night to make the wild partridge. On the dawn of the 7th day, it was done. She pricked her fingers and rubbed the blood on the wild partridge's feathers. And when she thought of her cozy cottage, the single tear rolled down her face and fell into the wild partridge's mouth like a pearl. With a flap of his wings, the bird stood up and ran about the prison cell in circles. When the emperor came once again to see Sister Lace, he found a live wild partridge perched on a nest of lace in the corner of the cells. He blustered.
What is this? I never told you to make me a bird. I wanted a heavenly dragon. Enough of this nonsense. Make me a dragon within 7 days, or you'll never see your home again.
As he turned to leave, the wild partridge flew at his head and began to scratch at his neck.
Free, Sister Lace! Free, Sister Lace! Or it will be the death of you!
The emperor ran with blood dripping down his neck and the bitter taste of anger on his tongue, while the guards caught the bird. For 7 long days and nights, with eyes burning from tears and exhaustions, and fingers sore and clumsy, Sister Lace worked. She ignored the pain and worked from her heart. And just before dawn on the 7th day, she finished. She pricked her finger and rubbed the blood on the dragon's scales. And when she thought of her beloved students, several tears rolled down her face and fell into the dragon's mouth like pearls. With a toss of his fiery head, it came alive. Sister Lace held the dragon on her lap and wept.
Oh, my most wonderful little dragon! You are more beautiful than anything I've ever created. But what good will it do me? Now the emperor will claim he wanted a fish and kill us both. I know I will never return to my village.
Soon, the emperor's footsteps grew near. When he saw the dragon with its lacy scales, he began to tremble.
That is not a dragon! It's a snake!
Slowly backing away, the dragon erupted in fury. It raised its head and breathed out a stream of fire which curled around the emperor. Then he disappeared in a bloom of smoke. The fire spread and burned the entire palace to the ground. Riding on the back of the dragon, Sister Lace flew into the sky. And there she has worked, making the lace that covers the night sky with stars. The end. What did you guys think of that story? It is a little bit longer than the ones I've been telling lately. A little bit different, but I hope it has relaxed you. Let's do one more yoga pose and round of deep breathing before we say goodnight. So, if you could have a talent that you were completely world renowned for, what talent would you want to learn? Let's do our final yoga pose and then one more round of deep breathing before we say goodnight. And I have had people ask, Corinne, why do we do deep breathing, yoga, deep breathing, story, yoga, deep breathing, rather than, throwing the deep breathing in between the story and the yoga? It's because the yoga we're moving around and I want to settle us back down beforehand. And I like to start us off with deep breathing just to calm us down beforehand. So our last yoga pose of the night is child pose. Get down onto all fours and then rest your bum on your heels with your chest on the floor and your arms stretched out in front while breathing deep. Alright, so I have my knees set out a little bit further so that it's easier for me to get down. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And namaste. I hope everybody has a great rest of your night and you all sleep well. See you next time.